Hey, everybody. Well, I feel like Mark Bruner looks. Pretty disappointing. Doggone it. That was a tough one. Brett Bloomquist asked me after the game in the interview, right after the game, if that was possibly the best team that we played against this year. And after looking at the tape and putting everything together, it probably was, as far as a team, the best team that we played this year. Southern Florida might have been a little quicker. Houston obviously has a little bit more explosive offense. But as far as an overall team is concerned, Southern Miss, in the way that they played Saturday night, played very, very good and are very good. Their defense was solid from the very beginning of the game till the end of the game. Although we did move the ball a little bit at times. Their special teams were solid, their coverage. I thought they punted the ball away from our returner well and kickoff. Didn't get any real good kickoff return like we've been able to do. Came close on a couple field goal PATs of blocking them. Antoine Blake just missed two and Miller missed one. So we were just a little bit off in the kicking game and they were good. Not saying that we covered hard, and Ian Campbell did a tremendous job punting, and he's now leading the nation in punting. And I thought Mike Edwards had a couple of real difficult punts to field. I don't know if I would have recommended that he pick them up on the bounce, but he did, and he got away with it, and he did a good job. And it ended up being about the correct decision. Their guy, caught the one punt on the 1 yard line or in the end zone and ran it out, and we almost had him there. He bobbled the ball, and I think that's the only time we didn't, really go for it and spill him out. He probably was thinking about recovering the football, but and then I think on defense, or their offense is a solid offense. Their freshman running back that hasn't played a whole lot for them. Number 26 ended up, making some really good runs against us. We missed way too many tackles on the back end of our defense. But at the end of the third quarter, they had like 120 yards rushing, I think, and maybe 120 yards passing, something along those lines. And third quarter, the first half was really exciting. I was really pumped up. I thought we were really in the game. I thought we had them on their heels. Their hurry-up offense did not affect us at all. I thought we really handled that well. Our defense did. We executed some good plays in the first half. The third quarter was kind of back and forth, and then they got the long drive put together, starting at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and that took the wind out of our sails. And most of the games in our league are decided in the fourth quarter, and they had the ball 13 minutes, and we had the ball 2 minutes. So it was kind of a combination of us not being able to stop them and us not being able to get a first down in the fourth quarter. So it came down to where we really had a game of it, made a game of it into the fourth quarter, and then they took off. But I looked out there and I saw their offensive line puffing a lot harder and looked a lot more tired than our guys did. They looked a lot bigger than our guys too, by the way. Their offensive line was huge, and their quarterback took care of the ball, did a good job, and they played like a real good team. So I think they'll challenge Houston. They'll really challenge Houston. So any questions about the game? Again, anything that... Yes, I think so. I think being the team that they are, and as well as I think they can do, they had to come all the way from Mississippi here, and this isn't an easy place to play. They weren't looking forward to it, I don't think, by any means, in talking with Larry before the game, and so they overcame that part to come here, and that maybe is why it was might have been part of the reason why it was close in the first half. I'd like to think it was us, but gosh, we hit them. It was a physical game, and we didn't get any serious injuries. It's weird how that happens, but it was a physical game. They were hitting us, and we were hitting them, and they knew they were in a dogfight, and just ended up outlasting us there and winning in the end. But I think we're still a pretty good team, and we're gonna have a chance in our next game. And it's like I told the team, it's a new season. I want them to reflect on just we have 4 games left in our season, and the season's November, and we certainly have an opportunity in all 4 of those games. Right. That's a great way to look at it. It really is. We jumped off sides in that 4th and 1, and everyone in the stadium knew that they weren't going to run the ball, that they were just trying to make us jump off sides. And we have a word for that we call hold your water, 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 and that tells everybody don't jump off sides, stay on sides. They're just trying to draw us off sides, and we had a player jump off sides. Did we use that as a rallying point? We definitely have to stick together. I don't know if that's going to be a rallying point. I think I like this team. There was a good dozen players that are looking in the mirror saying it was my fault. I don't see a lot of guys pointing fingers at anybody else, including that one particular mistake. We had a mistake. Every game somebody makes a mistake. That's the way the game's played. The team that makes the least mistakes win. It was very unusual that Jeremy Springer would make a mistake, because he is really a smart football player. If he's anything, he's a smart football player. And got caught up in the action, I guess, and just did it. But we're certainly going to support him and everybody else that makes a mistake, and it's not a one-man team. And I think we're going to get Trayvon Nixon and Darren Wooden back now, and that can help us with our open field tackling. We again broke down in the open field like we did against South Florida, and missed more tackles than we should back there. I don't think it was necessarily them faking us out or anything. We just got out of position and missed the tackles for the long runs and pass catches late in the game. Was it a disappointment? Because we have been executing fairly well, and yeah, it was a disappointment. I'm not discouraged, but I was disappointed for the kids, because they really gave great effort. They really tried hard, and we were ready to play. It wasn't anything early that happened that they particularly did that got us off guard. We fumbled the ball and then we made some plays and tied it back up and fought back through those adversity early. It was more our miscues than it was their superior play. However, they may have been the superior team, but sometimes the best team doesn't win the team that plays the best, and they played the best. I don't know if Trayvon Nixon will return punts for us or not. He was suited up for the game Saturday to do that had Mike Edwards. But I was kind of pleased with the way Mike handled the ball because there were some tough punts. Field position wasn't great, some of those things, and then he makes a great return, and we get a late penalty, which was stupid on our part, and kind of upset me that we would do that after the whistle hit, and because they called two penalties. The penalty that they called on Mike Edwards' return, we would have had the ball on their 40. We ended up having it on our 11, I think. That was a big swing, 30-yard swing there, 40-yard swing. Was a real close call. Could have gone either way. So, the unsportsmanlike or late hit was not a close call. It was an obvious mess up on our part. If Houston played Southern Miss on an equal field, I'd like to go see that game. But you'd think that Southern Miss would have a real good chance to win that game. Well, they will. They'll have a real good chance. And they might be better in Houston in a couple parts of the game. But Case Keenum is Case Keenum, and he's the best at what he does right now. And so I'm not a betting man, and I don't want anybody to have to bet on that. Yeah, Spencer played his best game on special teams and in the game, and played very, very good. I was glad to see that. He was one fired up dude. I don't know. His parents were here, so maybe that had something to do with it. But he was crushed after the game that we didn't win, and but he played good. Made some big hits, made some big plays. We need him to play good. We need more safeties to be involved with, playing good. Our depth chart at punt returner will probably be Mike Edwards and then Trayvon, depending on how Trayvon's knee feels this week. If not, Devin Patterson can come in there. Devin does a real nice job. Anything else? Well, obviously we're traveling to Rice this weekend, which is a big game for our team because we have, I don't know, but I know that last year we had like 17 kids. Do you know how many guys we have from Houston? 14 kids from the surrounding area of Houston. With that comes a lot of parents and a lot of fans, and we draw good fans in Houston just like we draw them in Dallas when we play SMU. So it's their homecoming, which I'm sure will provide some enthusiasm for them. Their record isn't very good. I think they're very well coached. I think Coach Bailiff's a tremendous coach and a credit to our profession and a good friend of mine. But when you look at their schedule, you look at, they opened up with Texas and played Texas pretty good. Then, of course, we thought Texas was going to be one of the top 5 teams in the nation going into that game, but they played them pretty good. And then they go back to Lafayette, Indiana, and beat Purdue. That's pretty hard to do. And got beat by Baylor and Southern Miss, but it was a good game against Southern Miss, a close game. They beat Memphis. Then they played Marshall at Marshall, which is a difficult place to play. They played Southern Miss and Marshall on the road and lost in close games. And then played Tulsa decent, and then and then Houston ran away from them this last Thursday night on TV, which I'm sure you all saw. In a rainstorm, they had it going there. They were ahead going into the second quarter, and Rice was, and they put number 18, Peterson, in at quarterback. He's a wide receiver, played quarterback in high school, kind of a big kid, 6'2", 215, and ran the pistol offense and ran a lot of option with a lot of quarterback runs. And in the wet night, Houston had a little trouble early in executing their passing game. As soon as it dried up, of course, then they exploded. But Rice was moving the ball and had a chance early in the game. And then the second quarter and third quarter, they just got blown out. And Houston ran away from them, as they usually do everyone else. But Rice scored 35 points. My teams are 1-2 down there. Very close games we've had. Lost by 1 point. Lost in the basketball score, 54 to 48 down there in a game with fumbles, a lot of fumbles, and and I think us playing down there is a distraction for the 14 kids. So we're going to again look at that like we looked at Tulane. Why were we losing at Tulane? Why have we lost in the past at Rice? But that's not going to be an emphasis for our football team. I don't want our players thinking about that, but it's kind of an interesting note how they have beat us when it seems like on paper we should have beat them. They're running 3 quarterbacks now. Quarterback from Faziano, the quarterback from transfer from Alabama, is going to play when they're throwing the football. It looks like the Peterson kid, they ran the ball real well against Houston with him at quarterback. And their starter at the beginning of the year, it's not Magruder. Well, how do you pronounce his name? No, not Fanuzzi, but the other one, Brett. McCurdy, I think. Yeah. He's been the starter, and he's kind of a run and pass kind of guy. Running back position is loaded, obviously. The kid transfer from Michigan that was all-world out of high school. McDuffie hasn't played for the last 2 games. He might be ready for us, but he's one of the best running backs in the country. But I like Taylor, number 37, I think it is, their running back. He just broke about a 95-yard run against Houston for a touchdown, outran everybody, and boy, he's a good player. And this Edenton guy, number 30, who returned kickoffs for him, also is a running back, and he's playing tremendous. So their defense is solid up front. They did break down, obviously, in the secondary against Houston. Everybody does. They're no different than anybody else. But they did kind of throw the kitchen sink at him, trying to stop him, and I think got burned a little bit by it. They had nothing to lose, and so they threw everything. It would have been a great victory for them had they beat Houston at Houston, for Rice. And so they weren't afraid to try things, and so they kind of corner blitz. The guy threw a touchdown and got some zero coverage with no safety in the middle, and burn them, and then it just really made some big plays. Case was red hot. Receivers were catching the ball. They were dropping the ball against us, and they were catching the ball against them. So Rice can play with anybody and has proven to play with anybody, and they've always given us problems, and I've got to be able to fix that. Our team is healthy. We should be ready to go. We should enjoy this. I want them to have the feeling and get back to that spot that they were when we were in Socorro, when we had all these hopes and dreams and aspirations and of playing or starting or catching a touchdown or be a starting linebacker or start on special teams or just make the team and have a successful year. And we have a chance of our seniors leaving here with a legacy of winning and going to a bowl game and all that kind of stuff. We still have that opportunity, and that's what I want them to concentrate on. Going back to that spot that they were, not at the spot that they were at the end of the game, but the spot that they were before the game. That attitude and that mental preparation that they put into the game. It's just a start now. This is November. It's just a start. When they practice on Tuesday, it's November 1st, and we're starting our new season. And we're all healthy. How about that? And we just got a little bit more experience than we did at the beginning of the year. Any other questions about Rice? We might almost have two defensive game plans based on the quarterback. But their previous starter did both. Fanuzzi, for some reason, is just in there throwing. And Peterson is just pretty much in there running. Now, can he throw? Probably. But he didn't have to against Houston. It's pouring down rain. You're running the ball. You're up on them. It's working. You're driving. You're moving the ball. And then they got behind and they're in trouble. What am I since we've been here? 9 and 18. What were those 9 games? First came here, we had a kid that was on the team, and he was a character. And he was flunking like 3 classes and had a D in one. And I said, what do you got to say for yourself? You got 3 F's and a D. I mean, what do you have to say for yourself on those grades? What class am I getting the D in? Obviously, he didn't make it. I don't know what excuse I'm going to make up at the end of the year to please the alumni if we don't do well in November this year. I'm kind of running out of excuses. So the fans remember the games in November, and so does everybody else, and so do I. So we would like to go out strong. There's no reason why we can't because of our injury situation, being as healthy as we can. We should go out strong. But we're just going to take one game at a time. And our biggest hurdle, my biggest hurdle, is to get over this Rice bugaboo, of not playing well down there at Rice. No, kind of a little bit about getting the monkey off my back in with the Tulane game. But when you're in this profession, I guess as long as I have been, I've had lots of cartoon pictures of myself with a great big monkey on my back for whatever reason before. So if this is going to be the November monkey, well then, I can show you a couple pictures I've got in my scrapbooks. Got a lot of different monkeys on my back before. This team doesn't seem as finesse as it is as we are physical, like some of our teams have. That could equate to better games in the year. I think, Brett, the most important aspect of us doing well in November is two things: being healthy without a lot of injuries and with a goal that is within striking distance. If you don't have a goal that's within striking distance, if you're out of the, if you don't have a chance to have a winning season, it's difficult to finish strong in November. If you don't have a chance to go to a bowl game, it's difficult to finish. If you don't have a chance to win the conference championship, that's difficult to finish strong. So injuries and a goal that's within striking distance are two things that are positive for us. So I'm looking forward to November. And like I said, let's start new. Whatever's happened in the past, doesn't matter what happened in the past. You can't cry over spilt milk. And we can't change what has happened. So we're going to learn from it and move on as quickly as possible and get on Rice. And we've done that as a team. That's what I told him yesterday. It's exactly sitting right here. I told him the very same thing. Don't cry over spilt milk. It's done with. Let's move on. Let's critique this game, learn from it, get into the rehab, and do everything we can to win our first game of the November season. Sometimes we do, right. I haven't looked at Solomon enough. I think he was number 3 or number 13 last year, and this year is number 35, if I'm correct. But he is a young man that we recruited out of high school also, and chose Rice. So we've known a lot about him over the years. And last year he was hurt a knee. So he's still coming off that. I don't know if he's regained all of his speed or not, but he's a real good player. And I don't know what the answer is going to be, but we're going to definitely look at that answer like number 49 and number 8 last week were very good defensive ends, and number 49 was as good as we've played against. And he played really hard against us, and it was our plan to run away from him and run toward number 8. And when we didn't do it, we were on a bootleg, and he's right in the backfield making a play on Nick. So we kind of messed up on that play selection. Okay, thanks a lot, everybody.